As the stock market reaches all-time highs and the federal government pats itself on the back for defeating the boogeyman or inflation, the mainstream media wants you to believe that the economy has never been stronger. And although the administration and the media are pushing this narrative hard, after all, it is an election year, most Americans believe that we are already in a recession. That's right. According to polls, most Americans believe we are in a recession, and rightfully so. But what do the statistics actually say? Now, I came across this news article the other day from Visual Capitalist showing how much it costs to live comfortably in each state. Then it actually got me wondering, how much do people actually make in each of these states on average? And does it even equal the amount you need to live comfortably? Let's take a look at this. The income an individual needs to live comfortably in the United States. And of course, this just says an individual. So this means one person living in these states, how much they actually need to live comfortably. And what I thought I would see when I first opened this up was much less for the Midwest, to be honest with you, because I actually already had a vague idea of what some of the numbers were for how much people actually make in some of these states. And I was just kind of blown away. And I started looking at it, and look at these states here. California, obviously, 114,000. If you had to ask me, I think you'd need more than $114,000 to live comfortably in California. I think that number is just way too low. But, for me, I live in the Midwest. I live in Oklahoma. So $80,000 a year, I think that's probably about right. I remember when I was making $50,000 a year 10 years ago, and that seemed like it wasn't even enough living by myself. Look at some of these states that you'd think that you needed less to live. Mississippi, more than Oklahoma. That's crazy. Some of these states I thought were much cheaper cost of living, apparently are not. And I bet a big factor in all of this is the cost of housing. Yes, prices are inflated across the board, but housing costs are probably the biggest driver for all this. And now let's take a look at how much people actually make. Pick a state, pick your state, and let's compare it to what the average income in your state actually is. So take a look at this. This is what I was talking about here. So Oklahoma, $53,000 for the median household income, and you needed $80,000 to live comfortably. And take a look at some of these other states I was talking about here. $46,000 is the median household income in Mississippi, and you needed $83,000 to live comfortably. That's what I was talking about. I would presume that it would be much less to live comfortably in some of these states right here, especially in the Midwest. It just blows my mind. So it's no wonder that most Americans think that we are actually already in a recession. Pick your state. I'm almost positive that you're going to need at least $30,000 more than the average household income in that state to live comfortably. Now, I don't know the metrics that they use, but realistically, everybody knows it's really hard to live on $46,000 a year. You've got health insurance, you've got taxes, you've got 401k that you're probably putting money into, gas prices are through the roof, groceries through the roof, insurance is through the roof, household insurance, taxes, property taxes are through the roof. I don't know how anybody would survive on $46,000 a year anymore. That just blows my mind. You essentially have to be living in a two-income household in order to basically live comfortably in 2024. And what's more interesting is the narrative that mainstream media and the government are pushing about how robust the jobs market is. That narrative doesn't seem to hold much weight whenever you look into the statistics. If the jobs market is so strong, why is the median household income on decline? Pay has not kept up with inflation, in forever. 10, 15 years now, probably even longer than that. So it makes sense that people think we're in a recession. Everybody forgot about it when the government was just, passing out dollar bills. And now that all that money's gone, everybody's struggling and they're like, oh wait, we might be in a recession. When we dig into the jobs numbers, we can see that for quite some time, there have been more and more part-time jobs being added to the economy as opposed to full-time jobs. According to this article, from February of 2023 to February of 2024, total U.S. employment rose by 667,000, but part-time rose 921,000. So over that specific period of time, part-time employment rose by more than overall employment. So in this case, it says part-time jobs rose faster than jobs overall because they are net figures. And it absolutely makes sense that median income is dropping if more and more workers are being laid off and have to resort to part-time work. And going back to that median household income versus how much you need to live comfortably, imagine if the median income just keeps dropping. Like if people are resorting to part-time work, that means that salaries are going to decrease and you just can't get much more of a gap between how much you actually need to live and how much you're actually making. And one thing a lot of people don't take into consideration is the fact that a lot of these companies are laying people off because they are now using AI. So a lot of these jobs that they needed people to fill are now just being filled by AI. They don't have to pay people anymore. I mean, if a company can boost their profits by getting rid of an employee and replacing it with a computer chip, then they're absolutely going to do that. And this year and last year is like the year of AI. So a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs simply because of that. Companies are cutting costs and they're trying to boost their bottom line. I mean, imagine finding that out. Imagine finding out that you actually were laid off because your position was being replaced by AI. Absolutely crazy. And that problem's only going to get worse and worse as time goes on. It boggles my mind. It used to be so fascinating to me to think about AI and how much faster it could do things than we could. And I'm like, what are we going to do? AI is going to take over so many things. What other jobs can we do? You know, there's certain things that are just simply not going to come back for like human employment. They're just going to be, it's going to be AI. And those people are going to have to find something completely different to do in order to make a living. So anyways, just something that I think is absolutely crazy. So according to the most recent Fed meeting, inflation is now on the decline. And although it feels good to see these statistics, most Americans wouldn't be able to tell. Remember that 3.3 inflation number is just a total number. So if you actually look closer, you can see that overall the cost of doing anything is still very high. And it's hitting most Americans where it hurts, the bank account. So it's no wonder why credit card debt is at an all-time high. According to this article here, the average American carries a balance of $6,218 in credit card debt, which is up 8.5% year over year. And in a 3-year span, Americans have racked up $300 billion in credit card debt. And prior to that, it took 17 years to add that much to the total credit card debt that Americans held. So in the last 4 years, we've added $300 billion to credit card debt, but it took 17 years to actually get that same amount previously. So things are just extremely, extremely expensive right now, and people are struggling. So before you go believing this narrative, especially in an election year, that everything is okay, dig deeper into the statistics. You probably don't even need to. I don't need to. I mean, you can see it, you can feel it. I'm in real estate. My main business, what I do for a living, is rental properties. And most people I know that do that, most of my peers have slowed down dramatically because the one thing that drives real estate investors is going to be banks. You know, we need lending. And so by the Fed increasing interest rates and making it harder to get lending, my peers and myself as well are not doing as much business. And that goes for across the board. If the Fed increases interest rates, the economy contracts, so businesses are contracting. That's why they're laying people off, on top of the fact that they're just replacing people with computer chips. You know, everything is slowing down. And no matter what people say, certain parts of the economy are in a recession. I don't believe these jobs numbers for a second, but that's just my opinion. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. You think I'm pretty far off on this one, or do you agree? As much as I'd love for this to be the greatest economy in the world right now, I think that we're dealing with some challenges, and we're probably in a recession now or headed right into one. We haven't even seen this thing play itself out yet. So, as always, thanks for watching. And if you could, please hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one.